Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking the code on a single three-digit number that can literally unlock doors to your future or slam them shut. We're talking, of course, about your credit score.
Okay, so to really get our heads around the power of a credit score, we first have to look at two totally different worlds of borrowing. The contrast between them is really the key to understanding everything else.
So on one hand, you've got the United States. Here, credit isn't just some financial tool, it's a way of life. It's woven into how people buy just about everything, from their morning coffee to a college education. But then you look at India, and it's a completely different scene. This is a country that for a long time was pretty cautious about debt. Now, it's in the middle of this massive, explosive credit revolution.
And just to put a number on it, get this. A whopping 82% of adults in the US have at least one credit card. I mean, it is just deeply, deeply embedded in the culture.
Now, compare that with India, where it's only about 5.5%. But, and this is a huge but, don't let that smaller number fool you for a second. The speed at which that's growing is incredible, and it's signaling a huge shift in the culture and the economy.
All right, so even with these giant cultural differences, there's one idea that's becoming the universal language for lenders, no matter where you are.
And honestly, this is the absolute best way to think about it. It doesn't matter if you're in Mumbai or Miami, your credit history gets boiled down into a report that's basically a report card for your financial life. And what's the grade on that report card? Well, that's your credit score. It's just a simple three-digit number that gives lenders a quick snapshot of how trustworthy you are with money you borrow. In the US, you'll hear about the FICO score all the time. And in India, it's the CBIL score. Same idea, different brands. So, the big question is, how do they actually calculate this super important grade? What's the secret sauce that goes into that three-digit number?
Well, here it is. This is basically the recipe. And as you can see, it's not some big mystery. There are 5 main ingredients. But look closely at the 2 biggest slices of the pie, your payment history and how much money you owe. Together, those 2 things make up a massive 65% of your score. The other stuff matters too, of course, like how long you've had credit, the different types of credit you have, and whether you're opening a bunch of new accounts. But really, if you nail those first 2, you are way ahead of the game.
Okay, so let's be crystal clear about this. The number one most important factor making up over a third of your score is just this one simple thing: paying your bills on time. Every single time. Just one payment that's 30 days late can seriously hurt your score.
Right behind that is how much debt you're carrying. Lenders really focus on what's called your credit utilization ratio, which sounds complicated, but it's really just a fancy way of asking how much of your available credit limit are you actually using right now.
And this chart, it lays it out perfectly. If you can keep your usage under 30% of your limit, that's considered good. But hey, if you really want to knock it out of the park and aim for an excellent score, keeping your balances below 10%, that's the gold standard.
So let's talk about why this number actually matters in the real world, because what's at stake is totally different depending on where you happen to live.
This table really drives the point home. In the US, your credit score is at the center of everything. It affects the interest rate you get on a car loan, your ability to rent an apartment, and sometimes it can even affect your job prospects. Now, over in India, a good score, say 750 or higher, is definitely important for getting a loan. But other things like your salary and your personal relationship with the bank can be just as important, sometimes even more so.
But here's the best part. This grade isn't set in stone. Not at all. You absolutely have the power to manage it, to protect it, and to make it better.
First things first, let's bust a huge myth right now. I'm sure you've heard this one. A lot of people are actually scared to look at their score because they think just checking it will make it go down. So is that true?
The answer is a big, fat N-O. When you check your own score, that's what's called a soft inquiry, and it has zero, I repeat, zero impact on your score. The only time an inquiry matters is when you actually apply for new credit, like a new credit card or a loan. That's a hard inquiry, and yeah, that can cause a small temporary dip. So what can you actually do? Well, the U.S. Federal Reserve has this really clear 5-step plan. It starts with the basics we've talked about. Get your report, check it for mistakes, and pay your bills on time. But it also gets into knowing your legal rights to fix any errors you find, and, this is a big one, being smart enough to avoid those credit repair scams that promise a quick fix but often just take your money.
And when you do get that report, you need to put on your detective hat.
You're not just looking for major fraud. Look for the small stuff too. A misspelled name, a payment that you know you made but isn't showing up, or maybe an inquiry for a loan you never even applied for. You have the legal right to dispute every single one of those things. And please don't forget this, it is so important. You are legally entitled to get a free copy of your credit report every single year from the major bureaus. It's your right, it costs you nothing, and it is the single most important first step you can take to get control of your credit.
So, where does all this go from here? What's the future going to look like as these two very different credit cultures keep changing and influencing each other?
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? The U.S. system offers a lot of lessons about innovation and making credit widely available, but it also has some serious cautionary tales about going too far. India brings a tradition of being careful, but it's also adapting at lightning speed. You have to wonder, could the future of borrowing for all of us depend on finding that perfect balance between the two? A system that gives people power but also keeps them safe?